All right, I think we are streaming. I wanted to share with you a new tool that we have at iPad Rehab Supply. You'll notice over at iPad Rehab Supply that we don't add a ton of tools. We don't add thousands and thousands of chips. There's not a zillion screwdrivers. There's not a ton of BGA stencils. We only put up the products that we really use every day. And so I've had this thing. This is a bottom heater, and I've had it for months, and I kind of was afraid of it, and I don't think I even plugged it in for a long time, because I heard from my buddy Ben in Australia that he got one, and it was not grounded. It was broken off inside, and so it had live 220 volts on the outside of the housing. So like any sort of product these days that is a piece of magic from China, a lot of times they have questionable workmanship. So you have to be careful. So if you kill yourself with this thing, don't come crying to me. However, get over your fears, because this thing has started making my life a lot easier as we've been working on the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus all day, every day. So we have been finally getting our heads above water with the iPhone 7 problems, the iPhone 7 drama. And the main thing about the iPhone 7 in general is the iPhone 7, the logic board just loves heat. It's like an iPad. It just takes more heat. And that makes it dangerous because it's really packed in there. A lot of underfill. The PMIC, the CPU, the SD RAM, the baseband CPU, they're all shoved together, and you really don't want to overheat this board. So the bottom heater, Lewis sounds like a 15-year-old. Think Lewis has told you with a voice modulator. Am I ill? Have you modified your voice? I don't think I know how to do that. Let's see. Let's look at the audio complaints. Samsung Go mic is working. That seems okay. Yeah. Once again, I can't fix audio while I'm in a stream. So let me show you how this works. So one thing you can do is use the bottom heater to take off shields. So I really like to do that. I was afraid of it initially, but I've kind of started playing around with it, not to take off shields. And then I kind of realized that taking off shields on the 7 is really a lot easier with this. And then it makes your work of constantly taking off and changing audio IC, baseband, PMU on the 7 a lot easier. So let's take a look and see what it looks like. I have set this to 109 degrees Celsius. And I have no idea about the accuracy of that. There's a little calibration button here with a screwdriver, so you could calibrate that if you wanted to get really scientific about it. And then, the back side of the board is just your sticker shields. And we're going to take off this top shield here. Now, this is the shield that you have to really be careful about. I've noticed using my regular shield removal technique that sometimes I get sort of marks of heat up here, and I don't like that. It's too close to the CPU. So that's why I like this method for shield removal. Let's see what it looks like. We're going to stick it on the preheater. So this is fairly universal. I've been using it for a few different things lately. So it kind of hooks on here, and it's just going to heat up. Now, if I was going to do a BGA chip change, like take off audio IC, now it would take a lot less heat to do the same job that you would do as normal, and you'll notice that it just feels a lot safer. I was doing some work that I normally wouldn't even do, like an iPad 3 PMIC, taking that off. Drag queen voice, Coca-Cola voice. Bass might be up all the way. Your voice is like a man. That's probably just true. All right. Okay, so let's see. Let's get rid of the hand cam and let's look at this under the microscope if we can. Okay, so one thing that I like to do with the with the 7 is to come through here and look at that. Look at how just touching this with my tweezer, can you see that? I like to get rid of this little layer of bathtub caulk that's on the 7 shield. See how that is? That's the low melt that adheres to the shield is already melted by itself. So just kind of sticking it on there means all I have to do is flick this sucker off. All right, so I'm going to cut this little top piece of tape. All right, now let's see if it is as easy as it looks like it is. Just hanging out, sitting on here. Can I just lift this off? Oh yeah. Oh baby. Look at that. Oh my god, it's so great. Look at that. It just comes off all by itself. So I love that. Love that for shield removal. Now, this shield is not as liquidy, and I don't really think, I usually don't bother to take off this bottom shield down here just because I don't think I've ever had a problem under here, and it's a little bit difficult to take off, so I usually only take it off if I have a good reason. I don't like to nudge these guys or like kind of get the little dudes that are under here pulled. Look how easy it is to take off these stickers. Oh yeah, baby. That's oddly satisfying, I must say. Right, so I think I'm gonna leave the shield on. Yeah, it's not like as buttery. So I think that for some reason this shield has just adhered with something else. Like always, the bottom shields are always kind of hard. Hey, somebody. Dan the Plumber, thanks for sharing your knowledge. You bet, Dan the Plumber. Okay, so I love this. And if we take it off, we can turn it off. Then that was like super easy. Let's get back to this little camera. Super easy, and now the shield is easily off. All right, so we can put this away. Here's another tip that we learned from Mark Schaefer. Don't touch this part. Don't just press it to see if it's hot enough yet. Don't do that. We learned that the hard way as well. Now, as we go, I'm going to be doing, I think, a lot of these iPhone 7 videos. I'm waiting to get some more pieces to my cabling system. We're really big fans of our new idea of graphing the boot sequence and helping to identify problems. And that has been really useful. So I'm super excited. We're finally starting to, not be able to repair a ton of them, but at least you can know very quickly, this is what's wrong with this and it's not repairable. This is SD RAM short, this is baseband CPU short, all of those things that kind of let us know that we're wasting our time, and then the ones that are repairable we can actually go after and know the difference between an audio IC fault and a baseband, repairable baseband PMIC fault. So for fun, just to kind of finish this one out, this one is here for data recovery, and I think this one's an easy one. I think this one is going to have just a straight up VCC main short. So we can, just for fun, why not learn a little bit and see if we can fix it. Of course, now that I said this is probably going to be easy, it's probably going to be hard. So let's find out. So we're going to just throw our good old DC power supply octopus cable onto this board, and as soon as we connect it, we see high current consumption, which points us towards a main power rail short to ground. So let's get our multimeter out and see if that is true. Let's check over here on the microscope. So we're going to find this. I've actually started using this little test point here for measuring VCC main. There we go. Oh, I missed. Is Mark something? Don't know. I see lots of SD-RAM issues. Yes. My voice sounds like a man. Yeah, well, I did make a little girl cry, so maybe I'm like metamorphosizing. I made a little girl cry at Odyssey of the Mind. Can't wait to be done with Odyssey of the Mind. This Saturday, we are finishing it up. It has been killing me. My kids had to design and build a car out of stuff that they found. Kids were welding. There we go. Full short to ground on the main power rail. Why? We don't know. So let's just kind of hunt around with our eyeballs. That's why I wanted to take off this shield. Now all of this, let's kind of clear away some of that thermal paste because it's a little juicy. I want to go back and watch this video. I want to hear what I sound like a man. I'm going to rename this video Wage Gap. Be a man. It would be a pretty funny trick if Lewis came by and made my audio be like a man. I could see him doing something like that for sure. All right, so with the way we took off that shield, look at that. There's no signs of heat. Isn't that beautiful? There's none of that sort of extra little puffy heat balls that make you go when you take off that top shield on the iPhone 7. Okay, so why do we have a VCC main short? Let's go on a hunt and look for our visual damage clues. Paul Daniels says he knows Lewis very well and he's absolutely sure he'd never do any sort of pranking. I don't think he would do any pranking either because he was asking me for a favor to read some questions for an interview earlier. In general, if he wants something, he doesn't do trolls. But you never know. All right. Why do we have VCC main short or VDD main in the iPhone 7? So crisp visual exam. You know, I was going to do another video I'd like to do this week is called Your Best Tool, Crisp Visual Exam. And I've got a couple of examples that I want to share with you guys of things to not overlook. These boards where people have just put a ton of time into them and they missed this one thing that made the whole thing unrepairable right out of the gate. One went in a microwave, for example. You don't want to miss that. So crisp visual exam, and on this board, crisp visual exam, I could be wrong, but my eyeballs are pointing me here at this guy. I don't know what you guys think as you look at this guy. Let's move that. It's distracting. Get that out of there. All right, let's look. Doesn't mean he didn't prep the next stream a while ago. Could be. It was school break week all last week, so I was working from home. What do you guys think? Look at that cap. I have seen that cap go bad before. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's a stream on this channel the first time I saw that cap. And the first time I saw it, it was, black and blown up. So he's on my list of he's on my list of known criminals, of suspects. And I've got his fingerprints, so he's somebody that I check. But look at that guy. See how there is like a discoloration? Let's get even closer and see if you guys can pick up on that. You see that? There's especially compared to this sort of smooth caramel looking cap next to it, this guy has something up. So I don't know, that kind of jumps out at me. Also, I don't see anything else. So my first thought would be, maybe it's that guy. And I'm going to take him off the board. And then if not, then I would have to go to my second best tool. First best tool, crisp visual exam. Second best tool would be using something like heat. Steve Miller says, I've tested and found that the diamond test point is actually ground on known good boards. Is it? I don't think so. Let's I could be messed up. Here's a different board. It doesn't look like ground. Look, it's isolated from ground. That really can't be ground, I don't think. This one, let's read the board. This one is definitely ground because it's not isolated from ground in any way. That one can't be ground because it's isolated from ground. this doesn't look like it could be ground either, especially because this one is ground. So this is a different board that does not have a VCC main short. And if we check in on this board and put a probe here on actual ground and test what looks like ground here, that's a beep, that is ground, and test main. 0.357. All right, so this is a good board, and that diamond is your VDD main. It's not ground. All right, so let's take the sucker off and see if this board has something else or not. What is the going rate on an edited video? Oh my, edited videos. Fancy. Fancy, fancy. I wish that I could take this cap off with the preheater and without the preheater so that you could just kind of see how long this takes. This is back off the preheater, or the bottom heater. I think we put a couple of other new things up on iPad Rehab Supply lately. One is the fancier UV light, the quick light. The one that we finally got some UV goggles, so now I feel okay putting it out in the world. Another is we've really started using that. Look at how long this is. It's taking so much time. Alright, let's find out. Was this guy falsely accused, or is he a troublemaker? Alright, let's find out. Is it the same light that Chris Long was using? No clue what Chris Long is using. We tried all of them. So what we do when we want to make a recommendation is we get all of them from China and then we use them for a while. So I've got this box here called Jessa Vet and Return to Me. So that box is things that are candidates that we're gonna just try out. So we tried out all the UV lights that we could get in China. And then we from my days of being working in the molecular biology lab, UV light in your eyes really, really is bad. It's even bad on your skin. So I really was hesitant to use or sell the UV light that are the handheld ones. If you look at that, you will hurt yourself irreparably. So we only will sell it with the goggles, the UV goggles, to make it safe. Otherwise, if you have kids around, or you have technicians that aren't, that you're worried aren't going to get that message, stick with a nail dryer one. I mean, I use the nail dryer one probably more than anything else. All right, let's see. Hey, Cap, falsely accused or asshole? Uh-oh. He says he's falsely accused. He says he's fine. He says, not me, bro. Okay. Well, all right, then we got to go on a hunt to see why do we have a main short. So we're still going to have our main short then. Yep. Why do we have a main short? Oh, wait. Let's see. Let's go on diode mode. Let's get this reading nice and clear. Do we have a main short? Let's actually go back to our diamond test point, which I'm pretty sure is main. That's still ground. All right, let's get back over here and measure. I thought this guy was on main, but I could be wrong about that. Oh, there's a solder ball right there. Oh no, it's not. Quit it. Okay. And let's just check some more main spots just to make sure that we're not getting trouble here. Which one of you guys is main? That one. Let's check over here by some of these bad actors. That's our VD boost. He goes bad a lot. All right, so let's see if we can figure out with our second method, which is why is this board, where is this board getting hot? And see if heat can be our tell, because visual exam, looking really closely, let's look here at backlight. What's up with you, backlight? Knock that guy off. That guy looks, I can't tell if he's just sort of been punched a little bit or if, yeah, he's probably just got a little mark in him. All right, let's check. All right, that seems like a normal backlight line reading of 0.5 something. All right, let's see. Anybody else look suspect? I don't think so. I really don't see a lot of VCC or VDD main shorts on iPhone 7. I see VDD boost shorts. All right, so now let's see if we can find out what is the culprit. Here's another sort of technique I've been doing lately that kind of can speed up on short detection sometimes is, oh, not these ones. You grab a pair of multimeter cables, also available at iPad Rehab Supply, that are the ones that are easy to use for, so these guys, multimeter cables. These ones are easy to just kind of alligator clamp to and turn them into a cool little, you know, needle nozzle way to touch a single spot on the board. So I can hook these up with, let's make this. So I can just kind of clamp the alligator clamps to these guys like this. So now I can just touch the board myself. This makes it easier than soldering a wire and then alligator clamping to the wire. This one, the black one, I'm just going to clamp on any ground on the board. All right, let's see. Harrison Taylor, help me quit smoking, Jessa. All of the nicotine killed my board. The secret to quitting smoking is you have to. This is the secret to all of life. Are you ready? This is my new thing I've learned this year. It's very simple. You have to be okay with feeling bad. This is the same kind of like mindfulness and meditation crap that everybody's like, oh, that stuff. But it's really, really true. Every problem in the world, every vice, everything that you can do that you probably shouldn't be doing, all kind of comes from the same fountain, which is you feel bad and you feel like you have to do something about it. Smoke a cigarette, drink, do heroin, punch somebody out, eat a pie. All of those things are trying to put out the same fire. Or you can say, you know what, feelings are like the weather, and even though I feel terrible right now in this minute, I know that it's going to go away, and I'll feel better even if I just sit there. So kind of put yourself in the third person and just sort of observe. Yeah, I feel like shit right now. That sucks. Always hate feeling like shit. Man, I am profoundly pissed. I'm gonna bang this table, and just kind of get to the point, work on it, where you can just sort of be okay feeling like shit. That's it. And once you can be okay feeling like shit, then that'll go away. You'll feel better, and that's the way you quit smoking or anything else. according to me. Okay, let's see what happens if we let's see which side of that spot was not ground. I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Oh, I can't look it up because this board doesn't have that. All right, so we'll have to pick the one somewhere else. We're gonna pick this one over here by Tigris as our VCC main spot. All right, so if I were to just touch right here, you can see on my DC power supply, look at the DC power supply. How do I turn that? You can kind of see it. And when I can touch that same spot, where is that spot? Right there. See how I fire up my short to ground. Which means, let's see what happens if we put some, let's see if there is some freeze spray. Oh, that freeze spray is out. I haven't been here for a few days. Let's see about over here. Oh yeah. Here we go. Find another addiction, says Paul Daniels. Also advice that will probably work. Okay, let's get this. Aaron says there's a pretty decent book I read that put a lot of it very well. And the discomfort you're feeling is also similar to the impulse people have for hunger. Yes. I mean, it really is cool to quit smoking and be free from just the control of all of that. It's pretty amazing. Okay. Let's see what happens. So sometimes I end up having to solder a wire anyway if I don't see anything get hot. Sometimes the easy ones are ones where it kind of lights up right away. I think I accidentally made that adjacent cap all right, shortening. Let's look around. Ah, there's a dude that's getting hot all the way out there. Let's see if that is true or not. Or is it a troll? I'm on my spot, I think. Yes, I'm on my spot. It's that top cap. See him in the corner? That's a little bit hard to tell. Let's just see if he's on main or not, rather than continue to waste up a bunch of expensive freeze spray. Let's see. It's hard to tell because the end of the board itself is going to get hot. Let's find out. Are you on main? I'm not 100% sure because remember, those guys that could be one of those CPU or GPU caps, so let's find out. Ben Nash says the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. I think the opposite of addiction is moderation. That's just an opinion. All right, let's see. Okay, according to our buddy ZXW, let's see, ZXW window, yay, ZXW window still works. Huzzah! So ZXW, you can see right here, boom. This is on our VDD main power rail. Now look, that cap that I originally thought was cracked over here, this is the alternate board view. So we don't have we don't actually have a good board view for the phone that we're working on. So we kind of have to infer some stuff over here in the baseband section. The boards that are like this don't tend to get the same failures. They don't get the audio IC and baseband PMIC faults. They can get audio IC, but they don't get the baseband PMIC faults. So I was injecting into VDD main here at this cap near Tigris, and from that, looking around with our buddy Freeze Spray, we found that this cap over here seemed to be getting hot. It's a little unclear because this edge of the board was getting hot at the same time. But let's see if that guy is our bad guy. All right, now with this one, I think this will be a good example. Let's stick this board because I just had it cold, and so it would take a really long time to get to come back to room temperature and get some heat on it and get that cap off. Now this cap I don't want to just sort of knock off with the Jessa method, just because I think it would be hard to not knock off like 6 of them. So let's go back to our buddy, the bottom heater. So we'll do the exact same thing. We just took off a cap on a shorted power line. Let's do the exact same thing, but stick it on the preheater and see, or the bottom heater, and see if it is how much that changes the picture here for kind of, the question of how do I work on these boards when they just suck so much heat up all the time. Okay, so I'm going to let that heat up a little bit. Addiction is an attachment disorder. All right. Jessa, do you have a good Lord meter? I have no idea what that means. Clue me in on what the heck a good Lord meter is. All right. I like the Dildo Schwagen says, the urge to smoke will pass, regardless if you smoke or not. That's what helped him quit. All right. Okay, so let's see now. Let's grab our good old hot air, take a look at our dude, and let's just see, like, how does the picture change? So we've got our underfilled Wi-Fi chip over here, and we've got our underfilled PMIC. That's a tough area to be working with heat, so we can stick a quarter on this anyway and get out the good old JBC. Well, let's just see if we can take that sucker off. That was a lot faster. All right, and I so far really loving the preheater, and I knew it was time to make a video about it and put it for sale on iPad Rehab Supply, is because when I went to work from home, I took it home with me. It was like, like going to the trouble of packing that thing up and getting the plug and sticking it in my little basket of things I'm gonna take home. then you know it's something that you really like to use. And it's so funny because it sat here for months, too afraid to turn it on. Just thought it was going to roast a board. All right, let's see. Let's ask this dude. Hey, bro, are you a good boy? I don't think he is. Oh, he left. Now we'll never know. We never got a good reading. All right, let's go back and check. Was that the reason that we had a main short? Never seen that guy fail before. Nope. God damn it. Let's just make sure that we're not getting trolled. Oh wait, I think that maybe he was the cause, but I think I have cracked this guy now in my probing around, so he's got to go as well. Let's stick it back on the old preheater and knock him off. Just because my sort of new method here, there we go. My new method kind of punched that cap in the face with my little needle. Getting a 50-car pileup. This kind of thing is a really great technical skills project of figuring out how to nudge dudes back into place. So for that, I'm gonna take it off my heat, my bottom heat, so that I don't have too much heat when I'm trying to get a guy to behave. Trying to get this dude to chill the fuck out. All right. There you go, bro. All right. YouTube, TED Talk addiction. What is the dark smear? Is it this? The dark smear. There we go. Better? Okay. All right, let's see. Do we still have more work to do to find our short circuit, or is it gone? Let's find out. This board is a little hot right now, but we'll see what we can do anyway. Nope, still a big ass full short. All right. So, in the absence of any physical damage, I really do wish I knew whether or not this cap up here had actually been bad. Let's go with our next strategy, which is we did crisp visual exam strategy number 1. Strategy number 2 was heat, and we actually never flipped the board over to look on this side. What is VCC main over here? I just don't know it well enough off of the top of my head on the top side of the board. So we didn't see anything on the bottom side with heat. So let's use our third strategy, and our third strategy is experience, inference, hypothesis, and a hunch. So all of that kind of goes together. So you have to kind of think how did this board come to be like this? So this board is not a water damaged board. And if we look at the housing is not seriously bent. So how does a board develop like this sort of like sudden onset VCC main short? And we can kind of think, well, maybe it was something that happened due to an insult at the speaker amp. So we could maybe just kind of put speaker amp on our list. Or you could think maybe this would be charger damage. And charger damage could damage Tigris and Tigris' own VCC main. And in the absence of any kind of burn or crack marks or any kind of bend, then you're just kind of going with how did it get to be like that and kind of make a list of candidates. All right. Is the phone with a confirmed baseband fault the black phone or the gold one? I don't know. It's one of them over there. I really don't know off the top of my head. Alrighty. She has killed the dark smear. Okay, so let's see. I kind of feel like we should kind of do a little bit of heat on this side of the board to just check. Let me just look up on ZXW and see what is main on the other side. Bunch of coils that are under that thing. Let's see. A bunch of main by the good old baseband CPU. You know what? I think I have seen it be one of those two guys before. I think I've seen that before. Speaker amp. That's a good candidate. All right, all of this is on the top side of the board, so I think that we probably do want to look at the top side of the board, especially because we saw that kind of what seemed to be a hot spot, and I do think this was a hot spot right here, and that is kind of opposite of speaker amp, and speaker amp kind of has that story of something that could fall short due to an insult with a speaker, and our other option would be Tigris. They're really at opposite sides of the board. All right, I'm gonna go with let's see what heat has to say before we move on to just a guess. All right, so let's go and put a wire on the board. Let's see, is there any spot on the board where there's like a larger, like two caps together for me to solder a wire to? All right, so there's a bunch of little dudes that are down. Where is that? A bunch of little dudes. That are in a spot I can't get to them. A bunch of dudes here. All right, so I'm gonna go with this whole kind of row here. Let's show you guys ZXW. So right here by the baseband CPU, there are pretty much that whole row. So I'm gonna pick that as my spot to solder a wire to, because that is a spot that is easy to get a wire on. All right, so what kind of wire can I use? I'd like to use something bigger than this, but I don't think I have anything bigger than this. All right. I received a new insurance card. It says to activate, you must use your cell phone to receive a text message. No other number to call. Must have cell phone. The guy, the local guy that was here today, said that his daughter is going to college. The entire college is everything, every homework assignment, every everything on every computer requires two-factor authentication constantly. And so he was, taking his daughter to college, and her phone had like one of those like just sudden death failed update on a 6S, and he had to buy her a phone like that day because she was going to college. So he had to buy her a phone. She's an iPhone user, wanted to stay an iPhone user despite her phone just suddenly dying for no reason. And he ended up having to buy her a 256 gigabyte iPhone 10, which was probably a pretty sweet deal for her, because she couldn't do her homework with no two-factor authentication because her phone was dead. All right, let's get this wire on here. 2 FA is better than no FA. Yeah. No more dog ate my homework. It's the dog. The dog effed up the FA. All right. Hi, Jessa. I had entered chat right now. I hope if I can help, what problem have this phone? I want to share experience. Well, this was really a video to kind of demo the cool little preheater that I've really been loving, which we'll probably come back to in a second. But while it was sort of, here and I'm working on it, I said, what the heck? Let's just keep on keeping on. So this right now has a VDD main short, and we don't know where it is. So we've been trying to find it for a while. So what I'm doing right now is just soldering a wire so that I can inject some beautiful cold filtered voltage into the main power rail here. So I'm gonna do that. So let's show you guys. Hand cam went to sleep. Wake up, hand cam. There we go. 2FA does not need 256 gigabits function. Well, I felt bad for him. I also was forced into buying a piece of crap iPhone 10. Also at the same time, I had to go buy one in order to do that Good Morning America thing. So I'm just going to clamp on here. Boop, boop. My voltage alligator clamp. I had to go, and the only phone that was around was at Best Buy, and it was a 256 iPhone 10. All right, so we're going to pull the plug on that so that this can kind of hang out. Now we're going to freeze spray after it's cool, so make sure it's cool. We don't want to just throw some cold on a super hot board. Let's throw some freeze spray on here and see if we see anything that is a hot spot on the top side of the board, because we never really looked at the top side of the board when we were looking earlier. Alrighty, so let's get everything frozen tundra. Frozen tundra. It's not quite as frozen tundra as I'd like it to be. Okay, so now we are gonna plug in and see what gets hot. All right. So of course we're gonna see heat at the spot that we're injecting it, because the wire itself will get hot. So we are just looking for where else is there a hot spot, if any. Sometimes the answer is there isn't any, and that's okay. All right, I'm gonna take off my short, make sure that my board is not hot, and let's look on the other side again with the ease of having the soldered on wire. Now sometimes when you want to find heat and you're pretty sure, hey, there should be a fairly strong short here. sometimes when something is a straight up wire, like there's a line with the power line and the ground, and they're wired together like straight up wire, big, strong, short, then it just doesn't have enough resistance to actually generate any watts. It doesn't really generate any heat because it's just a straight up pipe to ground. So in that case, it's kind of like if you think about the heat is kind of like friction, where you have to have some resistance. So a tiny, narrow, thin wire, like this thin wire that I'm forcing this voltage to push down into, that thin wire does, has a lot of resistance. But a big fat wire would have very low resistance. So if I were to swap out this thin wire for a big fat one, even the place that I soldered the wire wouldn't get hot. So you may have a really strong short somewhere that's kind of internal to the board, or something that's a really big deal, and you won't be able to find it. So you can kind of mess around with, hey, can I try to generate more friction somehow by toggling around your voltage that you can control to see if you can get something to actually generate heat. Okay, so let's plug this back in and see. So it's getting, it's melting here. That's really just opposite the wire. Okay, so let's try that one more time. And let's look around. The wire itself is going to get super stinking hot. All right, let's kind of want to check on that guy. Let's see if it's in. I don't think so. Little caps like that don't really fail anyway. All right, I am done with using heat, so I'm going to give up on that. All right, and desolder my wire. And then we're going to have to go with strategy 3, which is to just take some guesses from experience. Now, I don't have a lot of experience finding main shorts on iPhone 7. Let me see if the guy has any history that is a guide. Let's see. Let me look up his ticket on Repair Shopper and check it out. And see if there's any notes. All right, let's see. Clipping. Imagine if the cap was on, or the short was on the caps that I soldered the wire to. That would be a drag. That's why we kind of move it around a little bit. Phone working fine. No power. Home button stuck. Local repair shop cut the ribbon cable. Would like the phone repaired, or at the very least data retrieved. Pictures are very important. They include unduplicated ones of a friend that has died. So the phone was working fine. No power. Home button stuck. That is a little unclear what they mean by that. Alrighty. Let's go for Tigress, on the basis of the fact that Tigress can get charger damage. And let's go for audio IC on the basis of the fact that main goes to audio IC. And let me kind of clean this off a little bit and just make sure we didn't overlook any kind of visual clues. Oh, there's a visual clue. That is something that Chris Visual Exam should be pointing out. This dude doesn't go here. One of our caps that we knocked off got stuck to the other side of the board. Unlikely that was causing the exact same short, but let's just check. Wake up, multimeter. Wake up, multimeter. Nope, short is still there. This is a good phone to kind of learn your VCC main. When you kind of have to really go in detail on one, then you kind of learn it a little bit better than if you just figure something out right away because it looks all burnt up. All right, let me check and see how much main is under that shield because it might be time to take it off. Let's see. How much main is under that shield? If any. Let's see. Yeah, not just a bunch of baseband chips that don't really have any way to fail. Okay. Or it could be Wi-Fi. All right, let's just try to speed up. So we are gonna say Could this be a Tigris fault on the basis of the fact that Tigris has a way to fail in a phone that, quote, was working fine? So we're going to take off Tigris and see. All right. Pay attention for previous. Mark Schaefer playing with a 7 short. Cut the ribbon cable. Was it actually the button that was stuck, or just them assuming it was the button? You know as much as I do now. I think that's really, really hard to interpret. Button was stuck. If you've got a 7, you're talking about the home button. And then when it says no power, that's also really hard to interpret as well. Alrighty. Remember when I said this was going to be an easy one? Oh, those were the days. Oh geez, I need to get home. It's my job to put kids on the bus. It is not Tigris. Let's see, what else does DXW have to offer us over here? Let's start at the bottom of the phone. What? I mean, that sort of history of somebody that sort of just like ripped the ribbon cable, that just kind of makes you think, like, is there any other kind of like small technician damage on some kind of a dude? I wonder if it had a cracked screen or if she went in because it had this no power problem all of a sudden, because that's really two different pieces of history there. And we do see, you know, it's tough because we see like baseband CPU shorts all the time, but not really in a phone that has this kind of baseband. So that's kind of tough. All right, let's see what we're gonna go for next. What do you guys think? What do you want to go for? Let's see. Let's see what you guys think. Why don't we try the rosin method? I don't think the rosin method is any different than the free spray method. Mark Schaefer, what is the voltage and current when injecting on VCC main? It is not enough. It's like a super strong, big ass wire to ground. What I want to know is the last one that had a big short with no physical damage was microwaved. So I kind of want to dig out the housing to look for signs of microwavation. And that one was definitely an internal board short. It is like 1.6 and 3 amps, which, you know, I think should potentially show heat. It's not super great, but it's okay. All right, let's see what Mark Schaefer says. Oh man. All right, you're gonna have to. Let's get some moderators to get people to stop speaking in Spanish on the chat. You guys can go chat offline, but you're making it so that I have to disable the. I don't want to have to disable the new feature of YouTube, which is the comment stream. Let's just check on audio IC. Does audio IC does not have VCC main under it. All right. What else could just kind of drop dead? What else is going to drop dead over here? Chestnut, maybe? Let's see. What else is going to drop dead in an iPhone 7? Let's see. I've never gotten heat from that kind of a short. Yeah, sometimes it can tell you. So what do you think it is, Marky? What you think? Speaker amp. It's not Tigris, and that's pretty much all we know. We really don't know anything about history, and we really don't have enough experience with iPhone 7 to know where to look. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a main short on 7. Border caps kind of could fail, I guess. Alright, I guess let's just figure it out. Yeah, I think that with like all the 6s, there's really no choice but to just start figuring stuff out by process of elimination, so that you kind of start getting your candidates of dudes that fail all the time. We could bust out the old thermal cam. I don't think that's a main cap. You can almost always, even in those SEs where it's really hard, you can almost always find something. I just don't have memorized where which dudes are the main caps. You know, it kind of reminds me of the 6, where there's some of them that get like an internal to the board at baseband PMIC. Oh man. Alright, but I need to sort of speed up, so it is gonna have to just be process of elimination time. Alright, no liquid damage at all. Nope. My experience, it won't be a chip or a cap. It'll be solder balls or corrosion or breeding under a chip. Well, it's not water. It's not a wet foam. I've never hid a comment before. I feel like a policeman. Alright. Okay. What would just suddenly go bad? We are gonna start at this bottom half of the board. Wi-Fi maybe. Mark, it looked like there was definitely a little bit of heat kind of up here. Up here by this very end here, that was a hot spot. And we took off its cap. Right there. Which I was actually surprised that was a main cap. Alright, who are the buddies that are next to him? Let's see. Those little caps like that just never go bad. And that doesn't go bad. Alright, big caps by a PMIC. Let's see. Alrighty. I wish LSD, but I think there's no VDD lane under that one hole. Nope. There's no LSD. All right. I think audio stuff is really the probably the next thing, but it seems like a person that's not really like a audio kind of person. Time to figure this out by process of elimination. Actually, I think I'm gonna give this a chance to. Let's do this. Before we do that, let's do. Could this be the one, ladies and gentlemen? Could this be the phone that will make me stop saying that never has any device been solved with the thermal cam? Could it be this one? Let's see. Let's do that. What do you think, Mark? What do you think about just putting this firing up this camera before we just kind of go head to toe and clear this board to get this short done? Loving the. Did you take one of these heaters home, Mark? They are starting to become like a must-have for every 7 repair, as we're getting ready to see. All right, let's click over to the old fall asleep hand again. All right. I'm not the only one hearing the voice like an octave lower. I don't know what's up with that. Don't know. Let's see. We'll check out this. Maybe somebody touched something on here. Nope. Uh-oh, Mark. This accessory may not be supported on the Oh no! Not the TriStar on the 5. Ah! Uh-oh. Alrighty. Let's fire the sucker up. FLIR 1 close up. Connect camera and open shutter. It did. I did! Camera's connected, you fool. I did connect camera. I just pulled the handle of the tune. Oh, what a troll. Say it puts the lotion on its skin. God. Alright. Had something like this happen due to a screen the customer brought in. Disconnected battery, installed LCD, boot up, and instantly heated like crazy. No exposed backlight contacts, just weird. Yeah, dead TriStar accessory. So Mark, I'm gonna need you to do a 5 TriStar real quick as soon as you get here for the course. We're gonna have fun this course week. CPU races. Pull and hold the handle to tune. It's alright. This thing is going to get charged up. Piece of shit. Piece of mighty shit. I'm dying a slow death of coaching OM, Mark, every single day this week. Coaching OM. They built the car and then they realized that they could use the car to drift on the gym floor, and they broke the back axle of the car that they just built. And I'm ready to kill them all. Plus they made a little girl cry. Okay, let's solder a wire back on here. Where's that same wire that it just had? Alright, so we're gonna get our wire back on so that we can see what's up. There's a good spot for soldering your main. Okay. Alrighty, let's see if this thing will tune. Yay, it's awake. Alright, here we go. Let's bring this back. Okay, folks. Let's see. Don't tell me anything about low battery. Alright, let's bring you guys over. You can all see what it says together. Alright, I'm going to hit tune on this. Tuning, tuning, tuning. I'm going to make it go to black and white where the hot spot will be in red. And let's plug in and see the short. So the wire gets hot. What else gets hot? Let's see if you guys can see that closer. What is gonna get hot? Anything? So this is a, something with very low resistance. It's a wire, just straight up wire. Main is just dumping into ground. So it's kind of funny. Like this is the amazing power of infrared heat detection. Answer: not every short makes heat, and that's okay. All right, let's just see if there's a different answer on this side. Really not helping. Let's get the wire off of it and see. If you had to say, and you're not allowed to say the wire, what would it be? Let's go back to Arctic. Ooh, that's pretty. Pretty, at least. I guess there's some information there, which is it doesn't really seem to be hot at all in the bottom of the phone. Not that that means anything, but this is just kind of like around the baseband and PMIC area. All right, there. Maybe that's a little bit more informative. See that? Flip it. The heat is in the wire. And nowhere else. All right, I'm gonna go with that. Just totally doesn't really help. All right, how many amps is it drawing? 4. So here we go. That's what the DC power looks like. So 2 volts, 4 amps. You know, that is, you know, 4 times 2. How do I make this thing stop that? That's not great, but it would be enough to show some kind of heat if there was anything to see. All right, so there we go. That part is done. And let's turn this sucker off, and then we are gonna go with, let's see, Jessa M2800 Trinity. They did say another shop was in the phone. Could be the damage to this IC due to a bad screen shorted connection. There's VDD main. Well, Trinity. What's Trinity? Alright, WhatsApp thermal camera is that? It's a piece of shit. You should never buy it. Duh. It does. Why would you want to waste your money? We just saw that is useless. As usual, there you go. Once again, thermal camera, not saving the day. Alright. Okay, so let's see. It's 1:26 a.m. That is much longer than I would like to be here. So let's see if we can. We're gonna have to go with the. Just see what you can figure out. Taking stuff off the board. All right, so let's see. These guys. Let's get my multimeter going again. All right, now it's a big old whodunit. All right, so let's kind of look at ZXW, and we're just gonna kind of go head to toe. All right, for, I don't know, about as maybe brief period of time until I'm too fatigued and need to put it aside. All right, let's see. All right, so I'm gonna go for those caps that are around there. Let's see what's on the other side of this coil. See if that coil can eliminate anything. It does. That coil, System Boost LX. All right, so that coil, let's see, what's on the other side of that coil? This little chip up here, System Boost. Let's see, how hard would it be to take off that coil to just kind of eliminate that chip versus all of those caps? Let's take a look at it. Go away, ZXW. That would be pretty hard, I think. Alright, I'm going to stick this back on the ye old bottom heater to make life easier. Turn it on. 1, little 2, little 3, little VCC main caps. Alright, so this is way too close to an underfilled chip for heat. We're going to knock those puppies off. Make sure that we didn't create any mechanical bridges. Alright, and see if it makes a difference. Alrighty, Jessa, what's up with your voice? Oh, you got a little tea today. Got a little shot. Been working out. Been powerlifting. It's the Royce, probably. So the voice thing didn't get better. Stayed. Oh, look at that. It was one of those. Wow. Short, maybe gone. Let's check. Alrighty. And there you go, trolled by soldering the wire to there. So now we'll never know if the freeze spray and all of that stuff would have told us that. Probably not. Alright, let's check. Alright, let's go back to our tell. Boom! Diode mode, 0.305, 306. So, one of those dogs that I just kicked off, which are caps in the size and shape of caps that generally fail, that are on the edge of the board. Think about iPhone 6 VCC main sudden death, bad cap. It's on the edge of the board. You know, this is at that sort of fault line. Remember this style of iPhone 7 with the Intel chip does not get the fault line baseband stuff. So I kind of thought, well, maybe one of these caps, maybe like this one here. I wish that I knew now, but no way to know. You know, maybe this one here, that same kind of like flexion on that fault line cause a main short. Oh no, never seen that before. Let's see if this phone works now, shall we? Alright. And now we've got another dude or set of bros to put on our shit list. Does my voice get worse if I actually try to talk like a dude? Does that make a difference, or does it just pretty much stay the same? Alrighty. Fucking solder bridge? No, it wasn't a solder bridge. It was one of those caps. Those are all mean on the same thing. Those were all native looking. They didn't have any physical appearance. I chose them as a row to solder my wire onto. I mean, we did heat before I soldered that wire. We did heat initially, freeze spray, just using the multimeter or just using the, this alligator clamp to a multimeter probe to inject, and they didn't get hot with freeze spray. So that's the deal with that. One of those dudes was bad, and I'm gonna guess that we're all gonna see that problem again. So we'll put that one in the experience container. I really like that, sort of like a showcase of different strategies. One is visual exam, which really you can almost always find something. But in this case, there were a couple things that looked off. One of them really looked off, but it wasn't it. Or it could have been one of those things where there was, more than one fault, but I doubt that. Number 2, heat, and just this idea. I think we spent too much time on the heat strategy here. That's just because this is for data. But heat doesn't always show you. Let's use not his screen that's missing half of it. All right, where's Where's another iPhone 7? All right, let's grab another iPhone 7. Which iPhone 7 is going to be okay? I'm going to borrow this one. Let's turn this back on. Okay, close enough. Jessica Jones sounds really tired. Yes, it has been a long day. Mostly because I had to coach OM. I would like for everyone on YouTube to remind me when I start thinking about coaching OM next year that there's no way in hell I should coach OM. And if I even think like I might do it, drive to Rochester, come to the shop, and punch me in the face. No more coaching OM. It is too aggravating and time consuming. Faux shizzle. Alrighty. Let's see what happens. Let's watch let's watch this phone boot loop. Right, Mark? Am I right? Let's watch. You ready to watch this phone boot loop? Who wants to bet that this one is going to boot loop? Like every 7 does. Like all the 7s. Well, let's start by giving it enough juice that could boot if it wanted to. And let's make sure we plugged in the power button. Alright, boot mofo. Come on. Show me an image. Oh, that's right. I took off the backlight filter. God damn it. Right. And I don't have a janky screen to show image. So we're going to just put a little wire there for a second. Just to see. For troubleshooting purposes only. In fact, I'm not even going to turn on the microscope cam because I would not want anybody to ever do what I'm about to do with this wire. Never, ever, under any circumstances, even if you're just testing and it's 1:36 in the morning and you have to get up to put the kids on the bus, do not ever, never jump a filter. Don't do it. Resist the temptation. All right. Hi, Jessica. Sorry to bother you. Yeah, your phone, probably not. Can you answer me? I really want to know. Was your phone seen by anybody other than Drive Savers? Because it's really a disaster. Here, I'll show it to you just so that you know. I want to make sure that you see what happened to this phone. So Wanky Cow, did anybody see your phone? How many shops did you send it to? I saw your note that you sent to Drive Savers. I cannot imagine that they would do what they would wreck your phone like that. Who else saw this phone? Alrighty, let's see. All right, one more shot. Alrighty, I don't recall it being anywhere else, but it might be possible. Well, you need to figure that out. Did it go anywhere else? Did you mess with it? Because if that phone went to drive savers and nowhere else, then they need to be, taken to court. If it went to somebody else that doesn't have the hey, Apple refers to us, then fine, somebody messed it up. Here's your phone before we test that. Wanky cow, this is your board right here. And as you know, the CPU and the SD RAM are required for the phone to boot. This phone had very, very minor water damage to begin with. So this was a very easy recovery initially. So somebody has, bunged up around here for no good reason. But look in this area, there's no water in that section of the phone, which is fine. Up here, no water, no water. There's no water here. There is a little bit of water here at the backlight test spot, which is very typical. Right, this connector has got a lot of flux in it. There's been a lot of work in this area. If we look at this phone and we look at backlight, we can see that it wouldn't have had backlight right there. That's a cold joint. See that? That's just loose. So this phone, even if it booted up, you wouldn't have known because the screen would be dark until somebody came along to fix backlight. But you don't need to get backlight to get data. On the back side of the board, this is where there's some water damage here at speaker amp, just like in the phone that we're working on now. We were suspicious of speaker amp for this exact same reason. But it's very minor. There's a missing battery cap, which is, pretty typical. There's some, it looks like it gave somebody a hard time to get these shields off. There's a lot of flux around here. I think that somebody has probably replaced the baseband PMIC. There's very slight water damage there, but very minor. And then over here, this is very unusual that somebody would go to that trouble without replacing Tiger or without replacing TriStar. This is the native TriStar. Nobody's replaced TriStar. But yet somebody has been here and put heat and a whole bunch of, flux around Tigris. So it doesn't make a lot of sense why you would suspect Tigris and not TriStar. That doesn't really make any sense at all. No water back by the flash memory chip. And then we see a little bit of water here at the PMIC, but a lot of flux. So somebody's been messing around and putting heat on this board, and it's unclear. The actual amount of damage on this board natively, originally, is very, very minor. Really just backlight and then, maybe a little bit at Tigris. That's it. It was very, very minor to begin with. But here's the big problem with this. For no clear reason, someone has taken your CPU and really destroyed it. You have to have a functional CPU in order to get data. Let's look at this on the side so that you can see what I'm talking about. Look at this on the side. Look at that. See how this is your CPU on the level here by the board. And then on top of that is the SD RAM. That's all disgusting. That's ridiculous. That's kindergarten work. It's completely utterly unacceptable. Look at that. You can see through. I can see all the way through to the bottom of this pad here. Look at that. That is totally, profoundly unacceptable. I mean, this is way, way bad. Right, and then here's what the kind of biggest problem. If you kind of look here in this gap to look down at your actual CPU, there's gouge marks in it right there. Somebody has used a very sharp tool. See that? it's not a nice clean plane. Somebody has ripped into your CPU with a tool. Ripped, solder all squeezed out. There's chunks and pieces of your most important chip, the CPU itself, just from somebody shoving tools in there. So there's you know, I mean, I was planning to kind of just desolder the SD RAM and just take a look at your CPU, but there's been a lot of really poor, misguided repair. There's no excuse for doing this, and I would, you know, I think it's very important to know who did this. If this is something where, you know, your friend did it, fine, fair enough. You know, that's what happens. But if this is something that a company that is recommended by Apple as we can recover your data, then that's something that is more unacceptable. That is quite unacceptable. Alrighty. Okay, let's see. All right. I think when I sent it to Drive Savers, they said 99% chance that can get it back, but then they didn't. Well, did you send it, and did Drive Savers do that to your board? That's what I want to know. Did Drive Savers do that? If so, that deserves to be a wider audience. I mean, they're a marketing company, and it really sucks, you know. But they can't do that to people's boards. That's not cool. I mean, the problem with that kind of extraordinary rape is that that board didn't have anything wrong with it to begin with. It was a very straightforward recovery, very minor damage. And, you know, you get in trouble, fine, but you can't destroy a board like that. Okay, let's see if there's anything different. All right, and Lewis is here. Lewis, did you see this Drive Savers board? Where you can see with your eyes all the way through the board between the SD RAM and the CPU. Like the CPU is gouge marks all down it. Just a nightmare. And then the other one that's here from Kroll that's missing the EEPROM. And then the other one that's here that's been in a microwave. It's just not cool. And why are you riding your bike at 1:47 a.m.? Let's watch this phone boot loop, shall we? Come on, boot, mofo, because I need to go to bed. All right, let's see. Lewis, can you make it so that I don't sound like a man from your bike? That would be impressive. Everybody says I sound like some dude, like I got some roids. Maybe I should actually just start taking steroids to go with my new home gym in the basement. Alrighty. Yay! Ah! Alright. So there you go. That got to the lock screen and apparently is still on. Let's see. Is it detected by iTunes? Yeah, I think I ripped the battery out a little bit. Alright, so there you go. VCC main short finally solved. And I think the lesson here on this one is gotta love that bottom heater. I really love it for iPhone 7 work, especially just like what we did, getting those little caps off. Without that heat, it would be really, really dangerous. Let's see, do we have touch? Yay, we do. And let's get this guy's passcode. All right, path to data, cute baby picture, and this guy's gonna be happy. All right, look at the babies. Everybody loves the babies. And then we learned that not every short shows heat, so you can give heat a shot, but it's not your only tool. Experience. How did it get to be like that? A hypothesis. For us, on this one, we went after Tigris. It wasn't Tigris. On the basis of like having a reason, which was, well, Tigris can get damaged. TriStar would have also been damaged, but Tigris can get damaged when you have a charger problem. Or it could have been speaker amp. That was another kind of idea. We tried just kind of using our brains a little bit and ultimately went for this row of caps, which was by the baseband CPU, which I've never seen go short before, but I haven't seen a lot of VCC main shorts on 7s. And that was on the basis of the fact that it's the kind of caps that tend to fail. They're on the edge of the board. iPhone 6 has VCC main caps on the edge of the board that just go bad for no reason. And it's kind of the closest VCC main component to the fault line in the iPhone 7, and it turns out that that's what it was. So we got this phone solved, and you guys can check out iPad Rehab Supply to see all of those handful of tools that are really our picks, the things that make my life easier. And so if you pick it up, it'll make your life easier too. And it is time for me to go to bed. See you guys next time.